In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this infinity junk journal. This was a steampunk one, and this one I've made today on this video is an old adverts from newspapers. So I'm going to show you how I put all this one together today using jump rings and little eyelets and blank cards. So let's get on and make it. Hello, I'm Tilly Douglas, and I recently did a flip through of this infinity junk journal that I designed, and I've had a lot of people ask me to show how I actually made it. So I'm going to do that today. So if you haven't already seen the video of this one with the flip through, I'll link that in the description below if you want to go and have a look at it. But it's designed so it flips right over and opens up both ways. It opens up quite a few ways actually, but I won't go into all that now. But if you want to go and have a look at that, then feel free to check that video out. You can watch it first if you want to, or just watch this one where I show you how I put it all together and design it. It's held together with jump rings. So what I did to start with is I got some 5x7 inch card blanks. I've used 12 of them in this junk journal, so I'm going to use 12 again, and I've got 6 on either side. So these are some of my papers that I've designed, and I will have these available to sell before too long. I've been making some kits up ready, and these are all like newspaper, old vintage newspaper adverts. These are actually from the New York Times from the 1970s, from about 1913 to 1919. So really old. And I've muted them down, so I didn't want them to stand out, so I've toned them down a bit. So I just wanted them as backgrounds, because I don't like putting things over beautiful backgrounds. So like on this one, I did leave, these are some of the backgrounds that I bought off Creative Fabrica, and these were the backgrounds, and I don't like to cover those up because they're just so pretty, so I don't want to put stuff over the top of them. So with this one, I wanted these as backgrounds, which is why I've muted them down. So this is an A4 size, just slightly different to a US letter size, but they can be adapted for that as well, and I've printed on the back as well. So that's the size that they are, but when I make them for this, I want them to fit on these 5x7 inch cards. So as you can see, it would be a bit too big and you'd lose some of the design. So what I've done is I've printed them out at 84%. So that just fits nicely on a 5x7 card. And I've got folded them in half, so I can put one on the outside, and then folded some the other way so they fit on the inside. So my first step is to glue these on all 12 of these cards. So there's 24 of these pages to stick on. So I'm just going to get on and do that first. I won't show them all because that would be very boring. But the way I do it is I get a glue stick to start with. And I put on one side to start with, just on one side of this page. Give it a good covering with the glue stick. And then I go around the edge with, this is art glitter glue. It's just the one I prefer, but you can use whatever glue you prefer. But I just transfer it into these little bottles, and I just go around the edges. Because you only need a very little bit of this art glitter glue. always put the lid on this because it does dry very quickly. And then I line up my first page and make sure to tuck it right into the middle and make sure it goes over the top and the bottom. So tuck it right into the edge, into that corner, and then just smooth it out. You could just get a credit card or a store card or something and just press it out to make sure that glue doesn't have leave any bubbles in there, and it's well coated. And then exactly the same on this side. I do it this way just so it makes it a lot easier. It doesn't all stick on the wrong parts. That's why I prefer to do it one side at a time. Plenty of glue on there. And then around all the edges. And tuck it into that crease first and push it all out. There. So that's the centre done. Now do exactly the same for the outside. Making sure I've got it up the right way. And then I tuck that right into the edge, into that centre crease. Push it tightly into the centre. And then the other side. And fold that tight into that edge. The paper that I'm using is 120 GSM because I like to print out on just a little bit thicker than ordinary copy paper. Just my preference really. You can use whatever you like, but that's just my preference. Make sure the pages don't stick together. And there's our first page. So I quite like how these are muted. I just tone them down quite a lot because, like I say, they're just backgrounds. I don't want this to be the focal point. I want it to be the background, and it just gives a nice effect. So once they're dried, I will go along and cut these edges off where they stick beyond the card and trim them all up, and I'll do all that and then get back to you. So I've just got all these to do. Just takes a little while. So that's all my pages stuck on. And one little thing that I would say is when you put your first page on, that's a good time to trim it because you can actually see where the edge of the card is. So trim it on when you put the first piece on, stick the second piece on, and then you can see where to trim it for the next piece. Makes it a lot easier. So my next step is to mark all where I want the holes. So it's just slightly less than 7 inches. So I just did it so the center hole is at 3.5 inches, and then worked out from there. So I did it at 1 3/4 inches for the top hole, 3.5 inches from the center for the center, and 5 1/4 for the bottom hole. And I used my crocodile on the 3/16 of an inch, which is the bigger hole. So all I do for that is have my little template, and I just get a pen, make sure it's lined up nicely, and just put a little dot in the center of each of those holes. Makes it a lot easier just to do one, and then you can use it to do all the rest. And then if you've got a crocodile, you can set the depth where it goes to, which makes it a lot easier. You can still easily do it without a crocodile, just a normal hole punch, but I just find it easier to do that. And then you've got all the depths the same. So just punch through both sides of the card together. Do make sure your paper, the glue is dry, because it does make it a lot easier to do, and you don't get all gunged up. So I'll just carry on doing that with all these pages. These are some that I've already marked. This is a very quick and easy step to do. As you can see, I've also tea dyed with Distress Ink tea dye around all the edges and down the centres and on the backs. Didn't think you'd want to watch me do all that. So once those holes are done, we just need to put the eyelets in. Now what I do for the eyelets is I have them, the good side on this side, on the front, and the crimp side on the back and on that one. Now what I do is I have 3 either side, so I will make sure that I do 3 on that side. So for these ones I shall make sure that the good side is on this side. So I'll do those, and then the other side, which is the other 6 pages, you're doing exactly the same way. So I'll just put my eyelet in. Line it up and give it a good hard crimp. And I've got this colour eyelet, but I would have preferred an antique bronze colour, but I haven't got any, so that'll have to be on my shopping list for next time. So this is the easy part. The fiddly part comes when we start putting the jump rings on. So because I've got that on that side, I'll put these in this way now, because I don't want to open it up and get that crimp side on here. It's just how I do it. You can do it however you want. It's just how I prefer to do it. There's no hard and fast rules. Well, there's no rules at all, really. I love working with no rules. So it's just a case of marking all the holes, punching them all out, and then getting the eyelets in. So I'll carry on and get all these finished and then meet you back at the other end when I'm finished. So that's all our eyelets in. Now the next bit is where it gets fiddly, and I've had to put my stronger glasses on for this so I can see. So what we're doing now is we're going to join the centre. It's easier to work from the centre. So we've got to join 6 jump rings. So we have 4 in the middle and 1 either side, attaching these 2 together. Let me see if I can make it a bit easier for you to see. So these 2 are the centre, which I joined together with the jump rings here, and these 2 are the centre. So hopefully it'll become clearer as I show you what I did. So we're going to work with these 4 pages. So I've got all my eyelets on the right side, but what I'm going to do is flip these 2 over, and then we're going to join those 2 pages, and we're going to join those 2 pages like that. So we'll just do one set at a time. So it's easier to open these up like this, so you have both the backs together, and the same on that side. And we're going to have 4 rings in the centre, and then these 2 rings joining all the pages together. So if you've never used jump rings before, you just hold it between one pair of pliers like that, get another pair of pliers, and you twist. Don't just pull it apart because it weakens the metal. So you just twist them, and you get another jump ring and slot it on there. And we can actually do 2 here. Put 2 on and then twist it to close it. And if it doesn't quite meet, that one is meeting quite nicely. But if it doesn't, you can give it a little bit of a wiggle until it meets and closes neatly together. So we've got 3 jump rings together there. Find the opening, hold on to it and twist it, and drop another one on, and then close that one up. So we've got our 4 jump rings. And then this is where it starts to get a bit fiddly. Open this one up wide because it has to go through both these pages. And it does get very fiddly, and you do need 3 hands. So poke it through and drop the end of that 4 rings onto there, and then you have to try and hold it all together, get that end. Might take several attempts. It is very, very fiddly. I think really these are 8mm jump rings. I think really 10mm would work better, but I haven't got 10mm, so I'm using 8mm. Try and hold on to that little end. Get that one and twist. It's a lot easier to do when you're not trying to record it. So that's that one on. So that holds that nice and securely, and it's got room to move. So then we need to attach it onto that side. But before I attach it onto that side, I'm going to do it exactly the same with these two. So that's those attached in the centre, and they still bend nicely, so that's what we want. I promise you it is easy to do if you haven't got a tripod and camera to manoeuvre around. So now we're going to attach these two to these ends, and obviously this is going to be a little bit trickier because you've got it all tied together then. So in exactly the same way. Make sure you've got all your pages up the right way, because you don't want to be doing this twice. Just make sure that is nice and closed so it doesn't come undone later. So the last one that's the most difficult, and then the others are a little bit easier, you'll be pleased to know. But like I say, it is a lot easier when you haven't got to record it with all the tripod and everything. I'm trying to work underneath the camera. I just give it a little wiggle backwards and forwards to close it, and that's that part done. So that goes like that, and that's like that, and then we just build up from this side and up from this side. So the next part we're going to do is just attach these pages together, and we just do it exactly the same way, but with 3 jump rings, 1 on each side, which makes it a lot easier. You're only getting 1 jump ring through each page, and 1 in the center. It's a lot easier now. So I get my 2 pages for this side. Open that up, drop another one in, and attach that on there. Once you've done that center, you'll think, gosh, this is very easy. There. And then we join this one onto here. So we open up another jump ring, put it through that one and through there. And just carry on with the whole book like that. So open that up. And now you can see how that's starting to build. This center one just gives us that maneuverability, so when you're getting all your embellishments and everything in, you've still got plenty of room for it to move. So that's our center, that's our first page. This page is going to go on here in exactly the same way as this, and these are going to build this way, and then we'll turn the whole thing over and do exactly the same here. So 3 jump rings, join each page as you go along. So I'll carry on and get these finished, and I'll come back to you when it's done. So that's the first side complete. I've got 3 cards on either side, all joined together with 3 jump rings. This is our center, and that side is done. Now what we do now is flip it over, and we're back to the center again where we joined the 2 cards, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing and join these cards onto here, this one onto there, and these 2 on this side. So that's the structure of it all finished. Now obviously I haven't embellished it, put all the corners on and all the ephemera in it, which bulks up quite a lot more, but as you can see, that's just 12 cards, 3 on each side, but you can get quite a lot of ephemera and bits and pieces in there. So the reason I've called it an infinity journal is you can just keep building on these. Just keep putting more and more cards on, as many as you want. So on both of these ends, and also on the other side, on both of these ends. So you can just keep building on it. So if you've got more to add, just attach it to the ends. So I'm sorry it's so noisy, it's just that type of journal, but I love that about it. It's one of the things I really like. So you can open it all up like this. So these are all the backs of the cards. Or you can open it up like this. And it's just a really fun and different way to do a journal. I really love it. I shall be making more of them, and I will embellish this one. I'll do a flip through of it when I've all finished. But if you haven't seen the video of this one, do go and have a look, because there's lots of freebies for you in this one. All these tags and loads and loads of bits and pieces, all these on my website. All these cards you can just go and download for free. There's loads of stuff on there. I've got the templates for these. You can go and download those all for free. There's loads of stuff on there, loads and loads of pictures and all sorts of things. So I won't go through all this again, because I've already done a flip through of that, but that's just an idea of how it can look when it's finished. You can obviously do any theme that you like. So I will do a flip through of this when I've embellished it all and see what I can do with it. But I do hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you make some, because they're such good fun to make and embellish, and it's just something a little bit different. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, click the like button and the little bell to get notified when we bring out more videos, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.